I'm afraid I got some bad news for you guys. They made a new Indiana Jones film, and really, I really don't like doing reviews of films like this, because it's just like, what do I say? Why did they make this film? Why was it necessary? Well, it wasn't. I know it is completely 100% was not necessary. So let's just get my personal biases out the way. I have not been at all on board with this project since its conception, really, ever since I first heard about it. A fifth Indiana Jones film with an elderly Harrison Ford at the lead, just what's the point? Then all the trailers that followed that showed off, the de-aging effects. We've made Harrison Ford look young again because we want to relive the former glory of those films. Every part of my brain was just so not excited for this film. I was just not up for it at all. Not in the mood. It's just I think about Indiana Jones 5 and like all of my dopamine receptors just turn off, or just, I don't know how, if a psychologist can explain it, but everything just goes flat in my brain. And I need to think of something else like Tears of the Kingdom or something to excite me again. Now this is going to be a review, but it's also going to be a documentation of just like my psyche post-film, post-mid-film, because really I am at a loss and I just want to be as honest and transparent as possible, and I want to show the raw Bacho to you. So I watched this film. It's a long film, 2.5 hours I think, and I didn't really enjoy any of it. The whole time I was just sat there like, I mean, should I try and get like invested in this? Is there anything to like really hook me or anything? That was my experience watching this film today. It was just some form of boredom or just an overall emptiness.
Listen to me, no.
I ain't no Tangier.
So I'm going to break it down like this and go over the reasons as to why I was feeling that way when I was in the cinema. So again, I personally had zero interest in this project and I really was not in the mood for this movie going in. Also, another thing to factor in is I'm quite depressed right now, like really just fucking miserable. Like things are pretty shit at the moment. Like I'm fucked, and maybe I shouldn't be blaming the movie for that. But I am still pretty sure that it's crap. I've got to fucking haul ass here and make this review of this boring ass film into something like somewhat entertaining. Now we're going to move on to the potential causes of this boredom that are on the film's end. So you can't really objectively measure the quality of a film, but you can look at the intent of the person making the art. You look at where it's coming from. Is it coming from like a real place, like a real drive to make some great escapism? From what I can see, this movie is made for all the wrong reasons. It's a cash grab designed to capitalise off of an old pre-existing franchise that's long dead. There's no artistic reason for bringing back Indiana Jones in 2023. And I think the central purpose for why you're making a film is sort of the fuel for its quality. It determines like what it's going to be. And if it's coming from a profit-driven place that has almost no regard for the audience's experience, then I think it's just doomed to fail. We've just become so used to films being made for cynical reasons that we've become complacent with it, when really it is just a disgusting and vile way to make a movie. We've just had so much influx of shit that we've almost become desensitized, and really we should be just as repulsed as we were a couple of years ago. It's like being with an abusive partner for a couple of years and you just kind of get used to it and kind of say, oh well, I guess in some ways I'm lucky because he doesn't beat me like 5 times a day, it's only 4. Like, know your worth. And with cinema you have to cherry pick all of the good aspects of films. It's like, oh well, that was good, oh that little thing was good though, oh that little thing was good. No, you shouldn't even have to be thinking that. It should just wow you off the bat. Anyway. Not to do a whole Chris Stuckman, I grew up with Indiana Jones, but I kind of did. I really fucking loved the original 3. They were awesome. They really captured my imagination. They really immersed me. It was just true escapism. Steven Spielberg in the 70s through 80s was a fucking god. Now what this new film, Dial of Destiny, is essentially an attempt to sort of recreate that magic. It inserts all of the criteria for what it thinks make up for a good Indiana Jones film. Nazi villains, bumbling sidekicks, strange artifacts, intricate and comedic action, good like period setting. Structurally it's fine, but everything in this film is like a retread of ideas and motifs that have come before. A cool car chase, a scary bug scene, etc. Only this time without that inspired Spielberg magic. All of the scenes are just drab and dull versions of what we've already gotten with those classics. The characterization of Indiana Jones is a bit stale because Harrison Ford is 90 years old. The action is okay but doesn't really amount to any sensational experience and is just overall forgettable. Plus, it has an obnoxious over-reliance on CGI, which is just not the way to do an Indiana Jones film. You'd think that Steven Spielberg, being an executive producer on this, they'd know not to do that. The practicality of those old films is what makes them so special and so unique and iconic. Some of that stuff they did in the 80s was essentially like Buster Keaton stunts. It was amazing. You look at the behind the scenes of Raiders of the Lost Ark and you can see all of this passion and dedication, all of these amazing locations they went to and all of these sets and props they made. Everything about that production is so hands-on. The making of the movie itself was an adventure.
Start the airplane! Start the airplane!
That was great, kid.
You like that?
Incredible. Are you kidding?
You look at the way they made that movie and you're just watching these people achieve these amazing feats. And yeah, having a CGI action set piece is a time-consuming thing, but it isn't really like intricately done or dedicated. It's just, oh, we'll sort all this out in post, we'll crunch the VFX team, it's all on them. There's a scene where Indiana Jones is on a horse and for the most part that's all done with CGI. Like, you can't even do that, like it's just a fucking guy on a horse. I know, because it's like 90-year-old man, but that's another reason why it shouldn't be fucking made. Like, there were just so many uses of special effects being used when you could have done things practically. These multi-million-dollar movies should be comprehensively made. Like, where are all the resources going? Look at Top Gun, for instance, the new Top Gun. There's a way to do things properly and deliver something of quality to the audience. It just takes a lot more thought. CGI is just one specific tool that you use amidst many others. It's a mixture of all of these things that you have to balance, and it's insanely hard to get it right, but that's kind of what filmmaking's all about. It's supposed to be fucking hard. James Cameron knows that, Peter Jackson knows that, the old Spielberg knew it, so that's another contributing factor as to why I couldn't find any joy from this film. I was like looking for that feeling that I got when I was watching the originals, or at least something close to it, just something, you know, fucking something. Like, really, this is just taking the Raiders of the Lost Ark structure and watering it down and making it bland. Like, why do we need this movie to exist? We don't. Even the beat of Indiana Jones being an old man and struggling in this new era, like that's something we've already seen in the fourth one. I guess this film functions as a movie, but if you remove the Indiana Jones brand, then this would just make for like a mediocre adventure film that no one would really care about. It's almost as if they've used this old brand that we have a lot of respect for to trick us into buying a ticket for a mediocre movie. And what is the point of this de-aging technology that's just staying around for some reason? Like, we've got young actors, they're the ones who're supposed to play young characters. You don't just take old actors and then pretend like they're young. This whole de-aging process in modern cinema is just this attempt at gaslighting everyone, like saying, oh no, they're not really old, like let's all just pretend that they're 30 years younger. Like, what's the point? Like, it's a hollow lie. Oh, Harrison Ford, he's still got it, oh, he's still kicking, don't you worry. Like, why are we even attempting to like lie to ourselves? Like, The Irishman is a movie that I liked that did it, and even then, like, you don't need Robert De Niro to be the Goodfellas guy again. Like, it's not essential for filmmaking, is it? Let different film eras speak for themselves. Like, aging is a human thing, you know? Imagine if we do perfect de-aging and it looks seamless, and then like hundreds of years in the future, someone's looking back and there's just a guy, there's an actor who's just infinitely there. He's always there. He's like 30 years old for like 100 years of film.
Dr. Jones, get him.
I'll hit you with some positives. Mads Mikkelsen and Toby Jones were well cast. They were competent. They did a decent job with the material they were given. I'm not saying the characters were good. The characters were just kind of like, meh. Phoebe Waller-Bridge was good. She knew what she was doing. Harrison Ford, though, like, I don't see Indiana Jones. I just see an old Harrison Ford for the most part. Like, I don't see the same character I saw in Temple of Doom and Last Crusade. It doesn't feel like an actual continuation of that character. He's fine, I guess, but I'm disappointed in Harrison Ford because I thought he was the guy that did not give a shit about Star Wars or Lucasfilm or all of this crap.
Did you shoot Greedo first, or did Greedo shoot you first?
I don't care.
He didn't care about the fanfare. When people asked him, oh, who shot first, he'd just be like, I don't give a fuck. He was so based a couple of years ago, but I guess greed's got to him. Fuck him. No, sorry, so this is a bit mean-spirited. No, sorry. Maybe his daughter needed like a new yacht or something, I don't know.
If Han Solo and Indiana Jones were to meet, what would be their first words to each other? Hi, how are you?
We'll go into spoilers now. So spoilers. Some time travel in this. Like at the third act, they go back in time to like Roman times during like the siege of a city in Sicily. Like that is really goofy. Like the last one people hated because of the aliens, and this one they've done time travel, and you got these two schlocky concepts both done in this franchise.
Time travel. Ain't it a bitch?
As much as I wanted to like laugh at how stupid things got in the end, I was so done by that point in the movie. Also, like what they did with Indiana Jones, because there's like nothing left for this character to do in this franchise. They make his life so miserable and depressing, like not in a good way. In a way that just bums you out. Like, this is supposed to be a fun adventure film, and you just feel like this is so just flatline. So they reference the whole Indy having a son who's Shia LaBeouf, but they say that he died in Vietnam. So then you've got like this hero, this amazing hero that we grew up with, so to speak, who's like just lost a son. Like, great, his son's fucking dead. Like, that is just really wonderful, isn't it? Like, that was the fate of this character. That's what happened after his amazing adventures. His fucking son died. Really gets me in the mood for an adventure, that does. It's like if after Return of the Jedi they made it official canon that like Luke Skywalker ended up killing himself by the end. Like, yay, fuck. Again, Phoebe Waller-Bridge was good. Her character was like had a fairly strong presence, but they do try and get all emotional at the end by having her like, oh, Indiana Jones, don't die, please don't die. He doesn't die, by the way, but it tries to be all like, oh, her character has really grown to love old Indiana Jones and she really cares about his well-being, and it's so sad for her. And it's like, I just don't really feel any of these emotions. And then at the end they reunite Indiana Jones with Marion Ravenwood, so you got these two elderly people kissing, smooching, they pull on the heartstrings, all of that nostalgia, they play their old beautiful, admittedly beautiful John Williams score, like na 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 na, but it's all just emotional manipulation.
Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, rated PG-13.
There's an intense irony to this film because the main villain, Mads Mikkelsen, is like obsessed with turning back time and going back to the past when really you shouldn't be messing with it and you should be leaving the past where it is. Like, that's the whole message. And then you just look at what the studio have done with the Indiana Jones franchise with this film. Like, it's just like runs in like direct contrast to the moral of the story. Like, do they not know? Are they being meta? They are going back and tampering with something that's not supposed to be here anymore. Like, that is of a different era. Let that die. Make some new original fucking movies, new ideas. It's just going back and raping the past, man. Whoever's in charge, Harrison Ford is not Indiana Jones anymore. It's done. It's a time capsule of the 80s. Let it be there. It's okay. You don't need to relive everything. There's only a few things I can compare this to. It's better than the Uncharted movie. It looks a little less cheap than that did. Like, that was just a fucking corporate commercial of a movie, that was. However, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull I actually think is a better movie because it has that Spielberg panache. This new thing is just so drab, it's like frustrating to try and come up with words to talk about it. Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was iconically bad. Like, it was something to write home about. South Park did an episode on it. It was like the prequels. It was a whole event. This is just dying with a pathetic whimper. It's just so... Hollywood is just so intent on sapping all of the creativity out of everything, apparently. Don't watch this, go and watch Spider-Verse for the second, third, fourth, fifth time, because that is way more deserving of your attention and time, because people actually put some passion and drive into that. I was actually critical of Spider-Verse when it came out, because it was like a bit weirdly structured or unfocused, but holy shit, compared to this, I'm like so much more grateful of that film. It's like undiluted fucking art, that is. That is what we should be celebrating right now. Like, Spider-Verse is something unique to this new era. That couldn't have existed in the 80s or 90s or whatever. That is a sensational thing that is specific to this decade. Some closing comments here. This might sound a little bit elitist and weird, like I've got a god complex, but shouldn't cinema be the domain of greatness? Like, why aren't films sensational anymore? Like, what's happened? We should be going to the movies to be wowed by these extravagant creations of these magical storytellers. Like, where is the magic? I'm being hyperbolic, but it's to bring attention to this sort of issue, these feelings I'm having. Like, it's only happening because of this dystopian fucking cinema landscape we're living in. Of course, again, it could just be my fault that I didn't enjoy the movie because I wasn't in the mood for it, but even when you're not in the mood, if a film is good and has something to offer, you will get something out of it, and that's the thing. I really don't think this new Indiana Jones film has anything of merit to give you. So, fuck everything. Fuck me. Fuck Steven Spielberg. Fuck James Mangold. Fuck Disney or whoever fucking greenlit this piece of shit. This isn't fun. I'll let you be the judge of if this movie's shit or I'm just fucking miserable. And remember to fucking subscribe. No! 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 No!